Good Morning Salon, where they come to you from 98.1 FM. Where they bring this edition of the program come to you, Minasma James.
And it's up to you, Kalon.
Well, as we from a headline this morning, the chairperson for the Special Investigation Committee on the August 8 to 10 violence, Emmanuel Safa Abdullahi, this morning we can talk about waiting the fair notes and the recommendation where they make. Well, after the August 8 to 10 violence, President's BOP 15-man committee for come together and fair note waiting because this August 8 to 10 violence in the country. Where this committee go all over the country and we get mandates, the mandates we done we have to put the reports together and hand over them to presidents. Well, last week we still said this committee go hand over the report with different recommendations inside the chairman, like I don't say earlier, now Emmanuel Safa Abdullahi, where they are for telling about this. Good morning again and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Well, from that brief intro day, where I don't give una mandates, now before put together, waiting at the reason behind the August 8 to 10 violence we've been at this country. Take we through back, waiting be happening to say President set up this committee of 15 man.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, like we say, President may appoint a 15-man committee. We comprise of various heads of department and some people from professional groups such as the Sierra Leone Bar Association, Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, and also civil society. And they ask me for become chairman, where I accept for looking into the investigation. Now, the mandate of the committee have been for look into whether they organize the protest, whether they finance them and waiting cause them. Then we make recommendations to the government. For let we do this as a committee, we set ourselves up firstly for try for do a very thorough and professional work. So we decide for visit all the areas them where the demonstrations and protests then take place. So we start with Lunge, Port Loko, we go Kamakwe, Makeni. We also stop na Lunsar. Then we decide to say, okay, some of the issues that will be to come out, now the areas and where the protest take place, now issues them way for affect the generality of the country. So now we go to other places where the protest not take place and see why protest not take place there. So we go to Kono, Bo, Kenema. We also visit areas such as western rural areas, them district. We go Waterloo, we go Tumbo, we in places that way the protest take place. Then we come to western urban, basically eastern of Freetown, PZ areas, all the places that the protest take place. After that, we also been get a list of people we been down already get based on the interviews and the information they will review from open source, from intelligence report. We decide so we meet with these people. We invite all of them, quite a number of people. Most of the people then show up. Some people not cooperate. They decide say they will not cooperate with the committee. And we also talk to all the political parties. The APC, the SLPP, the NGC. You know, we spoke to leaders of these political parties. And we also decide, say, the media play a very important role. We talked to the media. We invited media houses where we get reports, say, being the fight among themselves, not Eastern. We interview them. We get their own side of the story. And before we decide for looking to get into the conclusion. So it was quite a very elaborate methodology for talk to everybody concerned.
In this context, where you explain, you refer to people, what are exactly so now them people here? So the one they wanna be need the information from?
Well, I mean, we already been need information from everybody. So when we start, we put out a notice and say, you know, we don't start with work. If anybody gets information, we go help the committee in work, make it put them forward. And we received a lot of information, and you know, we want to thank Sierra Leoneans, and we see video clips where sometimes nobody not been see somebody turn up in window and just video some event, video clips and audio clips, and where they come out from the inside of political meetings or inside of organizational meeting against the coup. I mean the protest. So we got a lot of people, and then we also we already get names of people. For example, we make comments on social media. So, for example, Dr. Sylvia Blyden, you know, he volunteers. Say, I get information. Mina, an insider of many groups, them of the opposition political party. When this issue started, I've been warn people them about because I've been they see waiting been the plan. So, in camp, we treat him as a confidential person. We interview him, nobody not know, and when he come out, he tell the whole world, say, I go informed the committee about what I tell them, and he already published in on. So we spoke to everybody, I mean, from mayor to government ministers, we did man different departments, we've been responsible for either security, or we talk to the telecommunication, communications people, we talk to paramount chiefs then. So yes.
Right. We can look at the report proper, but whether in a committee of this nature or commissions of inquiry, many a time people take the one winner the chair as the author of the report we can come out, for example, and forget to say a whole committee of diverse people, like which you don't say. So for the benefit of Sierra Leoneans, them, who are them then at this committee as an individual, whether they represent the organizations or individuals. So from there, we take the reports into proper and we want to talk to.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, I think this is a very important thing. I mean, they always say uneasy lies the head that bears the crown. But when the president formed the committee, you realize, say, real professionals. So, for example, you start with the professional groups. The Sierra Leone Bar Association, Edina Swallow, Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, Ahmed Nazarella, the monk. Then you get, for the children, you get Manaf Kemokai, Religious Council, you get Reverend Charles, you know, Archbishop Charles, he was there. Of the paramount chiefs, you get Chief Fasiluku, PPRC, you can get Abdullahi Bangura, Legal Aid Board, you get Fatu Claire Hansels, then you get Larry Bassi when I'm at the chair. IMC, you get Dr. Masakoy. You also get me, of course, as a person. Then you get the Ex-Servicemen Association, Colonel Goto, retired Colonel Goto. You get the former Inspector General of Police, Kanyako. You get Sally Adams, we represent the Women's Forum group. So then you can get a representative from the Peace Commission, even though they be there in and out, because they may get a transition in the institution. So it was quite a good professional group. And one thing that I have said in the past, where I don't say to people, I have been on committees both in and out of Sierra Leone, but I met a group of people who were focused and dedicated to only finding out the truth. This is a group where people would disagree how to cross the T's. I mean, and dot the I's. Somebody was, the T for start, so begin crossing from the left. And it was quite a thorough work, you know. I sat there as a relatively younger person among all of them. Aki Hamburg man I've seen, I know more young past me. But I learned quite a lot from people who get experience, we get integrity, we believe, say, you know, the only thing we could do was something right.
Right. So the committee go around the country like where you don't say both Usai incidents happen and Usai incidents not happen. Now for the side where incidents happen, how the reception from the people then?
So receptions were not really bad, and this is something that we have to again thank Sierra Leoneans about. Everyone wanted to talk. Everybody wanted to talk to me. Starting from Lunge, which I will begin. We set to talk to various groups, not together. So we spoke to the women separately, and the mothers who will talk about their children. They talk about the situation in their communities. We talk to the youth then separately. We then participate. Some of them participated, and some of them will say, "Oh, we say na so we participate because na this, and we not be no say na this." We talk to the security forces about what in then get, what in happen, and then we talk to what's the security forces, then get what they call provincial security sector committee, then get district sector committee. We spoke to them separately, and then it gives us the feeling everybody wanted to talk. We went to Lonsar, Kamakuri, for example. Quite an interesting place because he ended them burn the police station and killed police officer and then one Bobo Wave in the protest. And the father of that boy came to the meeting and explained to us, and he was bitter, he was crying. And then after that, we had to talk to him separately. We get people, we come to the meeting and say, "I'm not talking to this crowd, I want to talk to you in confidence." And we treated them like that.
So in line with the committee in approach for ensuring they get people for talk on the August 8 and 10. Now one way viewer listener then go eager for no, because when you look at that particular incident today, it don't put fear into so many people. Will not be the committee the approach for make sure say people come out and tell them the fact about this whole incident?
We had a confidential phone number, WhatsApp people go reach out. We went to meetings where people sit down at the meetings and said little about it, and while we were leaving, then check the number and they reach out to us, sent us documents, video clips. So we treated everybody based on what you wanted. We wanted to treat everyone confidential in terms of security-wise. Some people spoke openly. In court barriers, in places, people spoke openly. Some people said, "I may not be able to talk now because I'm afraid," and we treated them confidentially and never expose their identity, and we just take the information and aggregate them into the causes which caused this, which in government for do. And these recommendations did not come from us. They came from the communities, they came from the people. So we asked them, after all explain all of this problem which caused this, what can the government do so that we don't go back to this situation?
We can look at the recommendation. At that time, when they talk to people, I want to try for know the committee for know say waiting them people are telling on a fact and not based on any biasness or sentiment.
Yes, so part of the methodology basically have been for ensure say you listen to one person, you listen to another, and then you do a conclusion between and see if the information come consistently from one person to another. Then you might think because of the consistency it might be true, but also again the committee being get access to high intelligence report about what in the intelligence sector we don't gather, and so it was. We try for guide against, every research we do get in shortcomings, but we try for guide against biases. We try for guide against politically motivated statements. Some people were angry. Some people were angry against the government. We listened to them. It wasn't just about looking for what happened. It was also about giving people an opportunity to vent out their anger, their disappointment, as against, the prevailing economic situation, as against whatever government is in power, what the government can do to help them. So we listen to all of this. We try to get to a conclusion. And what do we now do? Because the issues were so similar, this is early on. We put them under thematic issues. So you could we looked at the security forces, which have been their readiness, which have been their action, which have been the issue about how they treated, how the police reacted, which have been their own shortcomings, which are the need. We move there, we look at the justice sector, we look at the infrastructure, we look at the telecommunications, we look at the socioeconomic issues and the political issues. Mm-hmm. And so we put them on the themes and try for place them on the board so that we will get consistent messages from all the areas we'll visit.
If you listen to the program, you listen to Good Morning Salon, where they come to you from 98.1 FM. The time for most studio clock now 7:56, and we still get the committee chair for the August 8 to 10 violence will be at the Konski. Mr. Safa, you don't talk about on a mandate now before actually know who that them organize and finance this August 8 to 10. In una findings, una actually be able to establish say this August 8 to 10 was actually organized and financed?
Yes, so clearly, this came out that the August 8 to 10 was well planned. It was not just planned, not like any spontaneous event. It was planned. And for everyone who lives in Sierra Leone, this was something that was planned. From July, there was already threat of this demonstration. Whether in the plan, there was already a social media audio from somebody called Adebayo. We talk about, and they fix a date, say August 10th, 8 to 10th, we were going to demonstrate. But if you look at the timing of it, everywhere where this demonstration happened, it happened between 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. So spontaneously. So, for example, we went to Port Loco, and they said to us, the young people say, where do you think started all over the country? There was no demonstration in Port Loco. Then two people came with motorbike from Lunsar angle and come and say, "Una sit down, all man they demonstrate. We don't can talk to una know they come jump on the street." And then the boys started organizing themselves. So you could see that there were ringleaders, faceless ringleaders who were organizing. You had people who were being paid for printing T-shirts. You had people who were being buy water for people. For example, where they give them water. You had people where, and these funds were transferred via Orange Money or Afri Money. How do you call them? Mobile money, without naming the telecommunications companies, but mobile money, they were transferred. So you're not going to say this is something that just happened all over the place. But one of the things we come out where we all know is that if people demonstrate spontaneously, it's different from when it is well organized, where a day before there were T-shirts being printed, placards being written. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand that you live in the very advanced world where anytime you sit down, they do something, someone is videoing you, someone is taking photos, and those photos were made available. And so, for example, in Lunge, people sat down, they wrote these placards in the morning, they marched towards the airport. And this is what was shocking to all of us. The airport CCTV cameras actually captured the entire vicinity of the airport where the protesters went through airport. Some of them attempted to jump over into the airport, and some of them were shouting that this is not something where they need for go dig the tarmac so that the president will come back. You could see them in videos and audios, and the airport is covered by CCTV camera. You also see, say for the fact, say the 2nd Infantry Brigade, no, not the 2nd Infantry, the Air Force that is based, Air Force soldiers and waiting at the airport, being there for coming, they could have overrun the security within at the airport. But this is something that was planned, and it was unleashed.
The program now Good Morning Salon, and they come to you from 98.1 FM. 6 minutes after 8, now the time for my studio clock, and we will bring this edition of the program come to you. Asma James.
And it's up to you, Kalon.
We still get Emmanuel Safa Abdullah in the program, chair for the special committee on the August 8 to 10 violence. This morning, we don't talk about the mandates we then get, and decide them we then go investigate and waiting come out inside the investigation. Well, as part of talk, he says it's a systematic way of well-organized protest or confusion that 10 day where he make mention of from July to August. So the committee believes say it was well planned and financed. But one go on for say if from July we don't hold on the hear about audio messages them we don't come out of threats. Waiting on find out say na be the role of the security in all of this for make sure say waiting the audio they take them very serious and prevent waiting happy making not be happy in that same day.
So thank you. We find out say the security sector, the intelligence unit, clearly be no say there was going to be a demonstration. What we find that they did not know was the magnitude, which is basically how big it will be, and we think say the intelligence service not for day like that. If you don't hear, you say there's going to be a demonstration. If we're able to go deeper for know how big it will be, and so as a result of that, we find that the police were reactive rather than proactive. So in some of the areas, the police were overrun. Lunge, for example, the demonstrations came out then basically overrun the police. Kamakwe was the same. Most of the areas where the demonstration actually take place, the police not being get sufficient manpower and the resources. So you find out that the report is saying the police need for up the game in terms of providing security, manpower, and even the equipment then for riot was not enough. Vehicles in Lonsar, they had vehicle problems, and get one motorcar away, then go for push on for let's start. So overall, we say they were relatively prepared. It means there's a way they don't work in the security sector.
What are the police relatively prepared?
There is a security sector. The security sector be relatively prepared. It actually means they were not ready.
All right.
And they need to be, but there were also a gap in the hierarchy. You know, just few days before the demonstration, the IG had been relieved of his duty, and a new man had come in. He just come up parliament, so there was a whole leadership vacuum. Even with the military, you notice that the top two guys away from both of them were out of the country. And at that point, you know that this demonstration or the violent protest not just begin today. It's been going on for weeks, being planned. I mean, how would you have both security apparatus not having a leadership structure, nobody in the leadership or a new man? So that was something that we found. But we also find that the security be heavy-handed. It means they were very harsh on the protesters and also used weapons like live bullets were enough for use, will lead to the death of the 21 extra people. And we think so there is a better way for police, civilians, than the canisters. But we also find out that there are three things. The police officers were targeted and killed, as we all know. And one of the things we're talking about is how do we begin to provide insurance scheme for the men and women where they serve in the security sector? Because if they have been targeted, the way they were targeted, brutally killed, it give you the picture of what happened during the war, where the rebellion came, they say, wouldn't a police, wouldn't a soldier. So we're saying they should have an insurance scheme, because it's not just about someone dying in the line of service, it's about what will happen to his family afterwards. And sometimes, there's no justification for the police to use brutality, but when their safety is put on the line, and you realize that there's nothing to provide for your death, then you are tempted to use violence. But also we think that the violence should have been minimized.
All right. I know say una mandates now before August 8 to 10, but with incidents that don't happen before that, and we just want to know if una able for link or establish what happened with the Tumbo incident, with the Pademba Road incident, because now similar audio messages that will be they get similar threats them where the police may know of again of the same threats here, but they happen will also lead to August 8 and 10. So now be able to establish way back to that incident.
So the reports go into the history of violence since 2018, when there was an election and there was a change of government. This government came and we list all of these incidents, and where you don't talk about, there was the issue in McKinney, there was the issue in Lonsar, and the Pademba Road incident. All of these, we catalog them. Not to be in business for going into the details of it, but we highlighted it as a systematic pattern.
So now go say the security sector failed the nation.
Failed the nation is a very extreme sentence to say. They were not ready, and they did not provide they provided. I mean, if the security sector not been available, like we all know what they was with it today, and they did some amount of services, and they come back and curtail the protest, but they were not absolutely ready. If they've been ready, we know for them get to that level, and for them stop these issues from one. But also, one of the things we found out is that the number of security, for example, police personnel that we get compared to our population is very small. That's the reason why they invoke MACP. MACP means the military aid to civilian power for can help. And we think that this is something that the government should look seriously into.
You earlier stated the police are not be ready, and also you don't make this clear, say them for don't minimize the violence. So which is which? They not be radiate or exactly then for don't minimize the violence?
Both. I mean, it's not like an opposite statement. They were not ready.
If so therefore be minimize the violence, so they not be prepared for it, not in the mind, it not come to them and say
that is exactly what I said. I don't know how you're asking this question, but if
so
you're not ready, then the violence can boku. If you've been ready, you for them your show of force, show of presence for make sure say it not happen at the widespread range, because the intelligence service for them able for inform say you get for happen at local, you get for happen at Lunge, then you will put police presence sufficient enough for let it not happen. But once it happened, the violence was unleashed. So now they're not able for minimize them. So it's the same thing I'm saying.
The investigation committee referred to this all August 8 and 10 incident as insurrection.
Insurrection.
Insurrection. I want to come about that time.
Okay, so
where you look at we make on feel say this will be the title of the August 8 and 10.
So initially, like I said yesterday in another interview, we look at the three words that were used: protest. Protest is a statement against something. Then you get riot. Riot gets some amount of violence where you put out, people come out and then they riot against an idea or a concept. You get some amount of violence. Now, insurrection is when you target state and government and try for, only undermine the authority of the government. Now, most places where this protest, this so-called event happened, there was one message which said, Madabio must go. In Lunge, the videos and audios then show say the people who have been there on the street say, Mike, we go dig the tarmac, let the president not come back, let just then in England. Let in woman then in England. And Kamakwe then went and targeted state institutions, burned police stations. In some other places, they went after not just the central government, then go after the local chiefs, threaten their lives. Most of the chiefs, for example, the chief in Lunge, get for go into hiding because they nearly, lynch them. So not just in Kamakwe, you go to Tombonaya. They burnt the police station, burnt government buses. Who does that? Government buy you and your community boss for later they take you picking them. Where you've expanded government, you burn them. So it was an action against the authority of the state. It wasn't just a protest. It wasn't just about singing and dancing and placards. It targeted state institutions, burned government vehicles, government institutions. And this is also something where really shock me. If you protest against hardship, which we found was true, the economic situation is difficult for people. The inflation was getting worse and it's still getting worse. You could protest on that, but you cannot protest on socioeconomic issues. And there was no message. There were few messages on that, other than just saying the government and the president must be overthrown or must be removed from office. So once you get them characteristics, and when we look at those definitions, we came to the conclusion that because it was well planned and organized and it targeted state authorities, then it was an insurrection.
Continue for the with Emmanuel Safa Abdullah, in the chairperson for the Special Investigation Committee on the August 8 and 10 incident will be happening.
We continue for talk about waiting if not is waiting cause the August 8 to 10 violence at the country. Now, earlier you make mention of different people we wanna talk to, now both SLPP and the APC, some corporates and some not corporates. Kiwi, the one they wanna talk to, we corporates, and the one they wanna corporates.
To a lot of people, starting with the political parties, we talked to the leader of government, leader of the opposition in parliament, Honorable Cherry Kuko. We talked to, on behalf of the parliamentarians, we talked to Honorable Abdul Kabo, the spokesperson for the APC. We talked to Mr. Sharif from NGC, the Secretary General. We talked to the Secretary General of the SRBP, Omar Napoleon Koroma. We talked to the PMDC, and we also talked to Femi Claudius Cole. We came and meeting with his lawyer and refused to answer some of the questions. We talked to the mayor of Freetown, Mayor Akisoya, himself come with his lawyer, and he said to we in Dembindong invite the police on something else. So let we go find the statement we're making at the police. So we could not ask her questions, saying again nothing for say to we. We talked to government ministers, talked to the head of the NATCA, telecommunications company, because there's a direct link between how the funding for the protest was passed through mobile money. And we also talked to the Minister of Trade, considering we don't talk to everybody, we talk about economic hardship, the economic situation in the country. And so we then also invited the Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs, Lai Lawrence Lema, in a show up. He say, now he say, receive the communications. We treated everyone who showed up and said nothing or not answer any question, and the one that were not show up the same. We put the allegations, who will get against them. These are not the allegations where the committee get. The person not come or not say anything on them. Because the thing we will try for do, and I hear this comment, as lawyers, you get for always hear the other side, particularly when somebody is accused of something. So we try for put the chin into them. If we have an opportunity to do it, we'll do it. If you not give you an opportunity, we have no force of law. We had no force of law. We just put the allegations we'll get against you and make you comment about whether you showed up or you did not.
So in terms of the stakeholder I wanna talk about, so we wanna try for get your own view or the own side on this whole incident. When be the approach? Is it through email? How wanna be done? Because in line with the Deputy Minister, we mentioned one way not too clear. How the committee be notified and different stakeholder where they may talk about so.
It's up to you. There's nothing unclear about
because
it.
According to the Deputy Minister, he was not well informed in the way and manner where they notify.
No, that's not correct. I don't want to make this about one person. Everyone who we sent letters to got their letters. Everyone who we sent letter to, then gets people who signed for them. We not just grab and say, we invite A, B, C. We invited everybody and people sign. As I speak, I get all the way book them where people signed for their letter and day. Now, it will be interesting to know that if we invited 30 people, all 30 got their letters, only one person not getting it will be strange. Because there is no reason why that one person will get them. But it will also be interesting that not one letter, there was follow-up letter, there were phone calls to say, hey, we need stuff. Even on the Deputy Minister, we talk, he himself talk and say, on the day of the interview, somebody in the committee was used to him, call him. So he would wait for you now. We mean say, Lord, just be frank to we self. If you had been, they don't reach out to you. Lord say you not get the 2 letters that were sent. Then reach out to you on that day. You we say, oh, okay, I'm not been getting letter demo. I'm not going to come today. Can we reschedule? Notice, just be honest. There will be fear to everyone. If you did not follow up, if you did not come, and you just ignored it, that means you ignored the committee, right? Every other person got their letters. In fact, the mayor put it on social media because they put their sat for them. They were ridiculing the situation. Our mandate was to talk to everyone whose name has come up. I give you an example. I sat in that committee. I get little powers because it was a committee of people who were very respectable and stuff. We sent letters to people like Hadi Macaulay. He's a lawyer. He received his letter. He came. We had a conversation with him for about 3 hours. And he left, right? The mayor got the letter. He came with video crew, white video crew people, camera, then they on, We said, no, this is a private conversation. You can't come with the cameras. We asked them out. He and lawyer left, and 1 or 2 of him people, we asked him a question. He said no. So there's no reason why we could not have sent the Deputy Minister's letter. Those letters were sent.
Let me look at the people of interest. The committee send letters to and try for reach out. The one that we cooperate and the one that we not cooperate. But the reality is we don't get audios of an individual. We initially they say the whole thing be faceless, but later we see a person called Adebayo take responsibility of the whole incident and the issue of the PPP movement. As a committee, we are able to reach out to person like Adebayo.
So, firstly, I want to make this very clear. The committee found that most of what happened, Adebayo instigator. I've said this. It's in the report. I'm coming to your questions. I just want to be clear. Yesterday, day before yesterday, people then don't send me audios them way they cost me and me parents them. That's okay. But the committee found that Adebayo and PPP, that's okay. That's fine. Them actually instigated this protest. And it wasn't about instigating. People get right for freedom of expression. You get right for disagree with your government. You get right for criticize your government. But if you say, for example, in audios, we want Lona go out and protest and kill them and do them, for example, that's very harsh. That's an extreme thing. Now, we'll remove the government. If you say that, the committee found it, will report it. Now, everyone will reach out to a way for able to give you access to Adebayo. I get messages, I get a record of where I reach out to people asking them when I get them, when I able to reach them, we need for interview him, we need for do an audio, we need for do a Skype or Zoom meeting because we need to get his own side of it. Nobody could reach him. And if we can't reach you, we can't do it. But the audios that are out there, they're very clear. In places where we go, for example, in Kamakwe, in Port Loko, the young people said when they put Adebayo in messages them on speaker for all man listen, and it agitated people. So it is very clear, and that brings us to the issue of the role of the social media. The social media really inflamed the situation. Now, being a freedom of expression person, I've always said people have a right to express themselves even when it is not favorable to anybody. And that is what it is.
Okay.
But when it comes to, let me just finish this sentence, please. When it comes to the issue, when the state is under siege, when the security of the state is threatened, the state, the government, everywhere in Europe, after 9/11, all the rulings and the Strasbourg Court of Human Rights say the state get a right for protect the state first before you talk about freedom of expression. So, yes, we get a right to freedom of expression, but your expression, not for create hatred, enough for create tribalism, and enough for create a security threat.
We don't talk about this report extensively. It don't well established now say it was well organized and funded. But before we go for the material and we'll talk about Adebayo, we now a later take responsibility of it and we're not able to get access to them. In such a case, we say somebody take responsibility and a whole report come out, we're not able to talk to them. You think say or waiting the committee say about in this report as we're not be able to talk to them.
Thank you. Before we go to that, I want to say hush to the family of Ambassador Macaulay. He was such a gentleman, and he played a young part in serving the country. The committee gets to the issue of the report. The committee gets its own limitations. We tried reaching out. We reach people where we feel to go reach out. Everybody seemed to skip, the opportunity for link way. There's nothing we could have done. But this is not just something where you need any extra proof on. Even yesterday, the man said, first after the August 8 to 10 insurrection, he was also on social media. Also, the cost for the one that want to take responsibility, say that they organize them. He said, no, now he organize them. Now he ain't people. He took responsibility for it. So there is no contention here. From the horse's mouth to you, he said, now we do them. And we find out that a lot of young people get followed, swayed by in audio messages, and they were listening to it religiously. So there is no issue about that. The man said, Namiduam, he is inaccessible. From in your audios, you can make a conclusion. You are not saying not to Induam. The man saying Namiduam, and there are evidence saying Induam. Why would he have to go into any other thing? So clearly, that is it. But, I want to skip the political aspect of this conversation. There are issues, for example, we go affect Sierra Leone, where we need to talk about. So they talked about youth unemployment. This is one major thing that we have to talk about. The report says people then graduate from schools, then come, they don't get jobs. Young people who don't go to schools. In all of these communities, they don't have jobs. So in Kamakwe, for example, most of the people who participate, we actually say, we will demonstrate. They say, we not demonstrate because we hated the government. We demonstrate because we not get jobs. When we get a mining company now, we've been do and don't shut it down. When they do logging, which is timber logging, government don't put a hold on that. we're not getting nothing else what they do. We need jobs. We went to Port Local. The young people said, we don't have jobs. We need jobs. And this is very important because this is a recipe for chaos. Once these young people then get an idle mind, they'll not get something for do. And it's not just in places where demonstrations happen. Even in places where demonstrations don't happen, young people are there. They're hanging around the street. They knew opium na football. They are either arguing about football, or they are watching football, or then they play football betting. And I think something has to be done speedily, not just with the government, but with partners, that youth and unemployment has to be reduced to some level.
So, Emmanuel Safabdullah, before we go for the break, you really talk about the other role or the other part of responsibility to the August 8 and 10 insurrection, because so now I refer this whole incident. I mean, apart from the social media, wait again at the other part of responsibility will lead to this whole incident. Apart from the voice note and the social media.
Well, political tension is one. And I think we had a conversation about it. There's so much tension in the country. Even on normal issues. So after the report, I listened to some people. Like, you see someone sitting there, and the tension that you create. When you're a leader, you should learn to be calm. You should learn to say things. We're not going to aggravate your followership. But sometimes you listen to these so-called leaders, the way they get easily agitated. You don't imagine, say, this is not public, then they talk so. If not corner, then they waiting and go say. Now, there's so much tension that all the places where demonstration really happen, now opposition stronghold, the APC stronghold. The places where demonstration happen, now the ruling government stronghold. So you can see what you call polarization of the country, where those who are not in government are protesting and those who are. One of the reasons why we went to Bo-Kenema and Bo-Kenema and Kono is to ask the people. So for example, when I know they feel the economic bite of which they happen, you know, why the one then in the northwest they feel them, when I know they feel them, and everyone says the same. We they feel them, but we not feel say then say they don't feel say want them for do a protest or violent insurrection. But so, this is because the politics don't make people don't really see things the right way anymore. People see blue and call them black based on your political standing. So a report of this nature, where they discussed the findings. Most people, we don't criticize them. Most people, we want for they find something for hang on them. You know, it's not like there are a lot of issues with the report, but people finding something. Either people who have disagreed with the government, or people who feel say whatever this government does does not work. So it's a political lens, and until we stop looking at the thing situation, how can you have a national telecommunication? For example, we're not able to regulate the telecom industry. We're not able to monitor how you transfer money on mobile money. How do you have that happening in the country? That's a whole space where the government has to be. Otherwise, you're losing taxes or there's a security threat to it. That's a national conversation. Youth unemployment is a national conversation. If someone, say, at the protest against the government and decide, say, I go attack the airport, God forbid if they had jumped into that airport and touched that airport, you know what's going to happen internationally? Then go blacklist we as a place that is not secured and all the flights will have stopped. You know the repercussion of that? So these are national conversations which people should talk about. Not the things where someone just sitting at that against or wait, then that desperation. Somebody has to be responsible and say there is a problem in this country which we need to solve, particularly when we are marching towards election. Let us all simmer down. Let us boil down. Let us slow down all these rhetorics where they create hate, anti-Mende, anti-Timini rhetorics. This is something that the report found. And it's important for people to have this conversation. Right. Not to just about you, and you.
Summary of the recommendation, Mr. Safa Abdullah. What's in the recommendation?
Recommendations are many. Government has to provide jobs for young people. We ask the government to be much more magnanimous. If we reach out to the opposition, we ask the opposition for be more constructive rather than preaching hate and tribalism. We talked about the security sectors. We need to get equipment, more human rights training, so that they're not going to use heavy force when it's protests at some point. We also talk about the security sectors getting an insurance scheme in case their lives are threatened. So we talk about the NATCA being regulated and let them provide sufficient equipment for them. So the recommendations are far-reaching. Like, it's not just about why the protests happened, about institutional build-up. We talk about pricing the market for commodities. So there are many, many issues that will make recommendations.
You can explain more on the recommendations inside the program now. Emmanuel Safa Abdullah, in a time for logo for a break.
You know what in the money? I want couple now. But the West Ham in the langa tin up and see them waking then at the bank. Now in the money right now. What in me go do? Ebo? So they are not go able for pay for this thing yourself. Welcome to GT Express Service. GT Express Service. Now who's want this again? This means say we banking made simple 24/7 and 365 days a year. Any site where you see the GT Express point, just go inside. You go meet GT Bank certified agent. We go ready for attend to you with no yagba. With GT Express service, you go open account, do cash deposit, able for withdraw money, do bill payments like EDSA, check your account balance, and buy airtime like Orange and AfriCell Top. Avoid the longer line and team up working day at the bank for wait for you your couple. With GT Bank, we banking life change for good. GT Bank, it go better. You bank with we.
The program Good Morning Salon they continue. We will bring this edition come to you this Tuesday morning. Mina sap to you, Kalon.
And Mina Asma James.
Okay, we come over to Emmanuel Safa Abdullah. We are the chairperson for the Special Investigation Committee for SECA the August 8 and 10 insurrection will be happening. And Emmanuel Safa Abdullah don't take we through on the approach different people we then talk to from ordinary citizen, party stakeholder, and other one them. And most time report can come out with recommendation, though you don't state some of the recommendation them where the committee make. But one thing we don't be concerned of citizen them now the right of assembly for say if people go through the right procedure and make a request for demonstrate, they should be allowed as a citizen as na the right. And plenty people get the view for say now because most time when some citizen they make this request and they get the approval, that's one of the ways will lead to this August 8 and 10 problem. In any way the committee states a kind of recommendation in line with the right to assembly.
So the committee states that the Public Order Act Part 4 we touch on freedom of assembly in a law way government for review and change, and that the police they look at requests for protest and on a case by case basis and make sure say then ensure say people then exercise their constitutional right to protest. This is very fundamental. And if you recall, there is a Supreme Court case where we've been filed 10 years ago, challenging Part 4 of the Public Order Act, say unconstitutional. So the committee talked about that, but also the committee talked about the judiciary, the justice sector, because people talk about it in places. So in Lone Star, for example, demonstration not really take place, but all they want will be to mobilize people. And say the grievance is that the last demonstration at Lone Star where they arrest people and from where they arrest them people and the entire land don't take too long, 2 to 3 years. Some people are still in a detention. And a lot of people say the judiciary need for be independent, they not for be pro-government. So this is it's a very important recommendation that the judiciary for take concrete action. People praise the judiciary and say they are courts all over the place. There are magistrates and judges all over the country. Some cases are moving faster, but they still believe, say, the judiciary lack the independence from the executive arm and will make a recommendation towards that. And I feel, say, it's a very important thing to talk about. The committee talked about the international community, that, the international community for work with the government. While you can criticize the government, things are going wrong, but you should work with the government if the states they're under siege. So the committee, for example, talked to many protesters. We say them say United Nations is problem, and because the United Nations do a tweet, and that tweet they hang them in the past. The committee said, look, it's okay as a UN body or as international community and as diplomat, forget the different views than the government. But when the country is under threat, we are all for the talk together as we have come together for making sure it's reduced, it's removed, rather than publicly disagreeing. We go show say the states not get peace and cohesion. So these are really interesting recommendations where I think say we all should be focused on.
In line with the political tension we identify as another cause or responsibility, within the committee recommend in that particular area, they, as now with the approach the next election, people need to know the manner and way.
The first thing we said, the committee said, the government are in the Cumbra, and you take a lot of slaps and beating and cause, and you should reach out to your opponent them and ensure that they are part of the governance system. So in terms of consultations. But we also say the opposition will also be reasonable, and I can tell you how the discussions went. Before, and please bear with me a little bit. The opposition, when we talk to them, can say the government not include them in decision making. And say even in places where the government, the constitution said the government will consult with them, the government is no longer consulting with them. When we talk to the government and the ruling party, then say, look, from where we take power, the opposition don't set itself out for disrupt with governance dynamics. We don't make a lot of overtures to them. We don't give them olive branches. We don't meet with them, but still they're not a take within. We don't give them on the table. So you could see that there are two different political views. One say we're not get included. The other one say we don't do a lot. They still they try for undermine. And the ruling government is saying, for the opposition APC, once they're not in a power, the only other instrument we can get are violence and disruption. So we are saying to both of them, listen, we've listened to you. How can you interact? How want to go able for show the people that you are responsible enough to rule and able for get peace with somebody where you disagree with. So therefore, we ask both parties, government and the opposition, for reach out to each other, particularly the government, for ensure say the tensions go down, and the political parties will go out there and preach less tension. So, person enough will go out and say, oh, na them mandate and na them hate we, or na them intimidate and na them hate we, which is what is the political campaign instrument all over the country.
So now, one other important thing we don't come out now that this whole thing lead to a rumor, though at the end of the day, certain people are responsible. But again, we don't see the same rumor don't they go out for say April 27. The kind thing will happen inside August 8 and 10 go likely repeat due to a rumor we don't they go out. The committee in any way recommend for such prevention of incidents not for happen again?
Well, the committee talked about the government in communication. Then go for do more communications. And like I said yesterday also, the Ministry of Information get a good team. Then they do traditional communication, radio, TV. But there is a bigger space on social media. When most young people, they need forbidden it. So some of these rumors, not to we on say, but rumors are creating problems. Social media and rumors are creating a lot of problems. So the government and the mechanism and citizens have to take conscious effort not for spread rumors. So you can't avoid it in a technologically advanced world like this one. You get to obviously expect that. But we don't know about April 27th. That's not our mandate. The government and its people can handle it. What we know was that before August 8 to 10, there were reports and rumors of a demonstration, we will cripple the country. Market women were told, people go to the market women and say, when I not come out today, when I not come out tomorrow, you get other market women, then they tell them company and say, if you can't sell, something will happen. So all of these, again, if you know not everything you say, what I had, what we had as a committee, you could see how properly planned and this was, how the information, and I think Dr. Blyden was clear on this, Silver Blyden, how the information, they filter from top there to the bottom, to the smallest chiefdom, how that information, not so by luck. It's a system that has been built and that is being utilized.
Mr. Chairman, the issue about the security sector not only stop to the police. We got a whole ONS where they coordinate all the security in the country. Thier asked just now about small information again coming out. We feel like waiting be there and we cause what happened August 8 and 10. So as a committee, waiting on a specification, waiting on a say when a recommendation about the security sector of this nation.
I don't say that already, Mr. James. Okay, the security sector are not very ready for this. Then get intelligence from the district and regional intelligence services about this. But I don't know whether complacency or just the fact that they were not ready. They were not ready, and we made strong recommendation about that. Now, you get to get the security ready. The intelligence service has to be proactive and go for dig deeper into anything we get for lead to disturbances. On these issues of August 8 to 10, they did not dig deeper. From everyone we spoke to, they knew it was going to happen. There were already intelligence reports which we saw and read, which say this was going to happen. Like I said, there not be no how big it will be, how it will be, how explosive it will be. And that is really a failure on their part. They should have known. Therefore, don't know that. That's why they are set up. And I'm sure, and I hope, they have learned from that going forward.
So, what in Una expect government for do out of these reports now?
We've done our bit. Our mandate was find out, make recommendations, and give us a report. We've done. Government should implement. But it's out of our hands.
In that report, they will not ask anybody for take responsibility.
Every district we went to, there are names of people who planned and organized. So it's in the report. Those names are there. All of them, district by district, organized. It's with the government. Now, we can't tell government what to do. Okay. Our mandate was go find out, make recommendations. We found out what happened, the causes, and why it happened. We found out those who were part of it, at the center of it, and we have done our bit of it. And we hope that, particularly the recommendations we give for do nation building, cohesion, economic situation, and all the problem causes should be
in all of this. What a view of certain people in the for say this particular report where the committee put together and don't present to president be your bias. Waiting will be opinion on such view of certain individuals.
People have rights to opinion, and I'm not sitting there. Like I said now, the reports are whatever you say is viewed based on whose side person the political leaning. But what we try to do was to do a professional job. Every day I ask myself, when I read the report in my quiet time, is this balanced? Is this right? You know, where there are question mark, I put a question mark. Because posterity will judge all of us if you take a responsibility like this in a trying times like this and try to be biased and try to implicate people where not for the day. So every day I told myself, do something with conscience clear. You go to bed and sleep well. And serve the country.
So from top to bottom, waiting everybody for land from this particular issue.
I think the most important part is we for land for disagree in a democratic space. Violence should never be part of our political discourse. The violence we unleashed on August 8 and 10 shocked not just the international community, it shocked all of us. From where the war done, we've not seen a violence of that proportion. The amount of number of people killed. The next question is, why do we have to target police officers? These are police officers. And like someone said to me, the police always there on the bad side of the view of the people. Now, they were killed, we still blame them because they reacted, and which they should not do. When they do normal policing, we blame them. The police have to try to be much more professional than they are at this moment, but we should not be targeting them because police officer could be your brother, your sister, your cousin, your friend where you're in school. If you disagree with your government, that means you will kill them. That's the thing. The other thing we're really shocking, why do we have to destroy government property? I said this in Tombo when we had a conversation with them. I say it takes government 10, 15 years to buy one bus for community. Then buy one iron, then can give when I left sit down, when I begin them burn them buses, then they when I young order picking and they use for go school. I said, which sense? So I made and I make it basically kind of this analogy. I said, you and your woman then are us. When I don't spend 10 years they buy furniture, they put them. For when I also look fine. Or when I make plab by £1, I grab it, broke all the furniture there. I said, which sense we down they make? And we're all laughing. Which sense we down they really make? That I was just up to ask my when knocking broke the furniture then at the house. I mean, because it takes time for you accumulate them. Right. So if the state is building police stations and they do this, you should not be targeting them. And I think we all should learn to disagree openly, I have had people unnecessarily criticize us on social media. I read them and I laugh. Some people I have reacted. The one that will not block them pages. I mean, this is another thing. You say you're democratic. You criticize government and people who will do work, but you block your own space so that we know comment. You only accept comments and work favorable to you. When you want to have a conversation, I am on social media. Nobody bullies me on social media. Once you hear the conversation, if you tag me, I'm coming there to defend me. Let us have a conversation in the public space, right. and then this will done. But please, this is our country. It's the only country that we have. We can disagree politically. Let us not bring violence. We will disrupt our livelihood.
All right. Thank you very much, Emmanuel Safabulai, doctor. Even though it's not for Colin, so. Chairman for the Special Investigation Committee, where President will set up for look inside the August 8 to 10 issue. And they don't present the recommendation. The recommendation they out for public consumption.
Yes, all over. I mean, we share
them. Go get them.
We don't put them on social media. If you want person, you reach out to me or anybody. We can just send you it, but just as easy as that.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, good morning, Salondo, and for today, one for say plenty thank you to Michael Sambola, Alex, Lawrence Koma, and the rest of the Good Morning Salon team.